Thanks, Phil. Um, I am really excited to talk to you all today. I'm from Silicon Valley, as you heard from Phil as well. We're here because we're excited about the ecosystem here in Finland. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about more about Murki. I just learned about this word since I've been here, but we're really excited about harnessing the talent here in Finland and creating these cross sections across the world that can really develop innovation at a much more rapid pace than if we do things alone, right? And so we're seeking out really strong partners. I want to go into a little bit about my background to begin with. I am a native of Silicon Valley. I've been working as a investor as well as a startup accelerator entrepreneur for several years now, previously with IBM and HP and sales and marketing, but I really love working with early stage startups. It's so interesting to me to see some of these new ideas develop, and certainly with the 5G and the aspirations of 6G, as we've all heard, there's so much opportunity, so much in the way of markets that can be disrupted, new ones that can be introduced. So it's a really exciting time to be alive. I don't want to spend too much time on my background, but what I do want to start with is a quote from my colleagues, Keith's former boss, John Chambers. It says, "If you don't innovate fast, disrupt your industry, disrupt yourself, you'll be left behind." This is such an important quote. It couldn't be more true today. In fact, there's been 52% turnover of the Fortune 500 companies in this since the year 2000, right? And so there are certainly a lot to be learned from this, but corporations that certainly invest heavily in R&D generally do okay. But what I'm here to talk about is more about open innovation activities in the way of partnering with universities, with other accelerators to help and drive new innovation from the outside in. And so some of the ways that we can do that, and in fact, I had a chance to go and visit Aalto University, what a fine institution. Had a chance to talk about Oulu University, Xank, if I'm pronouncing that correct, out of Melki. But some very fascinating talent coming out of all these institutions, and the focus of 5G is such an important one. We see that there's so much talent. How do we harness that talent and create new opportunities for new solutions in the future? And so my background has primarily been in running acceleration programs on behalf of governments, most recently South Korea, Mexico, and in Indonesia, in fact. And so but I also do corporate accelerators too. There are two use cases I do want to highlight in the short time that I have left. One is Google, and the other is Visa. So it's two of the top 5 most recognizable brands in the world. Each had different reasons for standing up these acceleration programs to begin with. So Google was looking more at startups at the early stage from a horizontal perspective. They had programs running in India, in Indonesia, Brazil, and then in the US. And I was fortunate enough to be the partner that was selected for the US program. We looked at really early stage companies. It did not matter what industry they were part of, but they wanted to understand how they could, sell cloud services, get line of sight into new entrepreneurs, new solutions, but also sell like Firebase. They have all these products that they were looking to sell. And so how do you do that? Forming relationships with companies at the early stage, helping them develop and kind of reeling them into their ecosystem from an early stage was one of their key KPIs, if you will, throughout that program. Visa, on the other hand, would grow 19%. If they did nothing at all, they'd grow 19% year over year for the next 20 years. And they were very adamant about presenting that and being fully transparent about how strong and dominant they are in the market. But they also wanted to not be be complacent, rather. And so one of the things that they wanted to do was learn about fintech companies that were potentially going to be disrupting them in the near future. And so they took a look at cryptocurrency, biometric technology, as well as cybersecurity, social credit scores, et cetera. And so by understanding these technologies sooner than later, they were able to really remain competitive and potentially partner or acquire some of these companies outright. So different reasons for standing up acceleration programs, but certainly part of their strategic roadmap as they look to remain competitive in the future. So typically what these cohorts look like is they're very small, 5 to 7 companies usually. There is a little bit of investment that goes into it. The benefit to the startups is that they retain their equity. So they don't need to worry about a messy cap table, giving up equity, but also the benefit to them is having access to the partner network and to new customers as a result. And so we'll have more time to go over kind of the benefits in Q&A if you're interested. But certainly there are plenty of benefits to startup founders. So if there are any startup founders here today that have gone through the chasm of death, as they call it, as they start their new companies. It can be a very, very lonely place to be a solo founder or to have a very small team and try and disrupt a new industry. And so working with corporations, working with a greater ecosystem of support can be really critical for early stage startup success. And so we're encouraging more of a collaborative atmosphere between corporations and universities, and certainly with the talent that is in Finland as it exists, the sky's the limit. I think there's a lot of opportunity for corporations to issue challenges to the market and then have some of the new bright minds that are developing to really think differently about how to solve these key problems that they're facing, and some of which that they're not even sure exist to begin with. So I don't have a whole lot of time left, but I want to encourage you all to come and speak with us afterward. We're all eager to learn about you and grow our network as well while we're here in Finland. And with that said, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer it. But I think we're going to spend some time on a panel, right, and answer questions as a collective here. So thank you for your time.